All right, thank you, Steve. That was fantastic. So, Tony, you're the newest member of the management team here. We're really excited to have you.
Baby.
Yeah, and you come from Teradata, which really kind of forged the path in data warehousing. So why are you so excited to be here?
I'm glad you asked me that question. I'm actually really thrilled to be here, and I'd love to tell you my story. I mean, just imagine, I worked for probably the biggest company in the data warehousing business for over 15 years in leadership positions. And basically in every vertical industry that is out there. So I've seen a lot out there. And you know, Teradata charged $10, $15, $20 million a year to build enterprise data warehouses with a very complex environment. Customers like you realized that there's better ways to do this. You can get to results faster. So the business started declining for the company, and I realized that I needed to make a career change, especially with all the open source things going on out there. There was a lot of buzz about big data. I mean, if you think about it, Teradata invented big data 20 years ago. Even the name Teradata is big data in itself. But the reality is, everybody's using big data, all kinds of data now. It's proliferating like it never has before. I heard some statistic that in a week, we generate more data today than we did last year. And last year, we generated more data than we did in the entire history of the world. So the amount of data is just incredible. So at the end of the day, I told myself, I need a career change. So I asked the universe, I'd like my dream job. So please provide me with the dream job. And sure enough, I put a checklist together. And keep in mind, I had at my disposal an entire competitive team that studied every company in the marketplace. And I gathered so much data on every single company, from the big ones like SAP to the little ones that you never heard of, these open source companies, which by the way aren't making money. And I just looked out there to see what was viable and what was right for me. So I put a checklist together, and I came up with, well, at least 10 things, 10 that I'll share with you, and then I had some other personal things that I wanted in my, and well, let me share that. Like, I have to like my boss, right? That was part of it. Check that one off. But anyway,
Right answer.
Yeah, exactly. But 5 of those 10 things were very technology oriented. So things like high scalability, high concurrency, mixed workload, atomic level data capability, and cloud-based, because the marketplace was gravitating in that direction. And then the other things were probably even more important, frankly. Things like customer references, thank you, and affordability, that kind of thing. And then I'd even add to that, like the fact I wanted to work for a privately held company. Working in the public world was just annoying, frankly, quarterly craziness. At any rate, add to that, probably the most important ingredients, really the culture of the company. It's, high growth, like a startup type of mentality. And then the passionate people and smart people in the company, I'd say, is the most important thing of all. So I interviewed with a lot of companies. The universe provided me with several choices, frankly. And at the end of the day, it was a no-brainer. It was 10/10 data is it. I'm living the dream, and that's a fact of life. And you know what else? They even gave me another one that I didn't even have on my list. This data sharing concept was the cherry on top. It was just, it's a beautiful thing, monetizing data. People want to monetize their data, and they haven't figured out how to do that. And 1010 has figured out how to do that with our platform. So I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Great, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, baby.
We're happy to have you. So Loic, you came over from Tableau about a year ago to really help us make some changes that would have major positive impact for our customers on how we serve them. Can you talk about some of those changes and how we've evolved the team over the last year to help our customers kind of get more impact from that team?
No. Yeah, sorry. Yes, I would be delighted to.
Yeah.
Well, as Steve mentioned earlier, I have 20 years of experience building support teams, services team, all around data, at Business Objects, which then became SAP, then at McKesson, and then at Tableau. And one of the things that Tony forgot to tell you is that his living the dream thing is actually trademarked. And so I wanted to say that too, but now it's too late. He trademarked it.
I do get royalties whenever you do say it.
So instead, I'm going to say it in French, because just in case you didn't notice, I have a French accent, which means I might be French. Je vis le rêve à Tentendela.
Well done.
So now, more seriously, what are the things that we really improved since in the last year? So first, the first thing we did is that we assembled all of the teams, whether they are support, whether they are customer success, whether they are implementation, whether they are education, whether they are project managers, data engineering. We assembled all of them under one umbrella. So every single person that actually serve our customers and make them successful is under one umbrella, which we've decided to call customer solutions. So that's the first thing we did, which is very tactical, but it has an implication for you, which is that through that, we actually created a lot of synergies. And we've already been able to increase our quality of service. The second part of that is that through doing this, we also put in place some more processes. Imagine that. So for example, capacity planning. Well, what does that mean? That means that because now we have such a large team, you remember that Steve mentioned that we actually hired and increased our headcounts by 50% over the last few months. And so that actually enables us to choose, through capacity planning, the right person with the right skill set for the right job. So that's important because that means that you get the best of the best, and it's on time, and it's on quality. So that's the first thing that we did. And then I forgot what else was I wanted to say, so I'm going to... Oh yeah, so I wanted to mention two specific teams in the ones that I mentioned. And why do I want to mention those two specifically? It's not only because I prefer them. No, that's not true. It's because they show you the kind of directions that we want to go towards. So the first one is education. That's a new team that didn't exist. We had one trainer. And now we're hiring more people. We're investing heavily. And what we want to do is we want everyone in this room, whether you're a customer or whether you're a partner, to really get to be educated and productive and get all of the value of the product fast and efficiently. So that's really our goal. One of the things that we're going to do, for example, is that very soon, by the end of the year, we will start to have online courses, which means that you will be able to get training from your desk, which is pretty cool. That's not the only thing we're going to do, but that's just one example. More flexibility for you to be able to get educated. And then the second one is project management. We do now have a large team of project managers, and every single time there is an implementation, we assign a project manager to it. We're like, well, that's not that great. Well, no, what's great is the result. The result is because we have now a delivery methodology that we follow. So that's the same experience for all of you. It's structured, it's organized. And now what does that mean? Well, that means that it's on time, it's on budget, it's on scope, it's on quality. And those are very important things when we provide services to customers. So those are a few examples.
Thank you. So Steve, before, as you said in your talk, before you came to Tenten Data, you were a customer of ours. Can you talk a little bit about some of the most impactful changes you've seen from the time you were a customer to kind of where we are today?
Sure. It's tough to focus. I'm very focused on Loic shoes. They're blue shoes. I'm very envious. But I think I can separate myself. Yeah, so I was a customer. I mean, 10 years, Tenten Data's come a long way. The product's really, really different. I'll highlight two areas. I mean, obviously there's a lot of areas. Number one is, I think, just, when we were using Tenten Data, it really was an analytic tool. It was made for a group who wanted to use really big data and do pretty hardcore analytical things. And so, it was not an enterprise solution. And over the past 10 years since I was a customer, 1010 Data, we have enterprise scale implementations with millions of tables for single implementations with data sets that are over 100 billion rows. We lost it. And we have thousands of users concurrently logging into the system to do their analysis. That's just many orders of magnitude more scalable than what the solution used to be when I was a customer. So that's one thing. I think the second thing I'd highlight is actually our data business, our data sets. We've really, back at that time, it was very real estate and mortgage-oriented data sets that were hosted on the platform. And we've really dramatically expanded the kinds of data sets that we host on our platform and can make available to you. We run it as a separate line of business, but those data sets are very consumer-oriented. They include consumer transaction information from credit and debit cards. They include email receipt information, which includes line item detail of what people are purchasing online and through apps. It includes web browsing behavior from mobile and desktop devices from about 7 million people. You can see the full path to purchase. You can see conversions. You can see what products are being compared against one another, which are really incredible insights. And the reason it's so impactful is because this fills blind spots for our clients. Our clients spend a lot of time trying to understand their own data and how their own customers are interacting with them. But it's really hard. You get a much better picture of what's really happening when you understand what the consumers are doing outside of your four walls. And all that data, it's anonymous, and we package that into turnkey products that can be directly incorporated into your decisions. So I'd say those are just a couple of the areas that I'd highlight.
Great. So John, you've been with us for about 7 years now, and you've held many different roles. You started with us as an analyst. You did pre-sales. You ran pre-sales. You run product now as well. You've worked with more customers and prospects than anyone on stage, and I think anyone in the company at this point. Can you talk a little bit about kind of what unites all these customers, some of the themes that tie them all together?
Sure. So, as Steve said, Tendon's been lucky enough, and I've been lucky enough to work with companies in retail and CPG and distribution, healthcare, telecom, financial services, and in use cases from marketing to supply chain to e-commerce, a breadth of analytical use cases. But the thing that we've found that really unites all these different customers is the need to work with the most granular data. And with traditional tools that you can acquire, it's possible to get a look at year-over-year trends or aggregates in maybe a dashboard form. But what we've seen unites our clients and why they come to 1010 is the desire to look at the customer level, the store level, the item level, down to each click or the IPDR, the QSIP. It's whatever the most granular kind of data that you can access in your domain and vertical. That needs to be able to flexibly analyze it. That's why customers really come to 1010 and what unites them. And this is why everything we do from a product, from an innovation perspective, is around how can we make it easier and easier to get insights from that granular data. So that's improving our intuitive workflow to the trillion row spreadsheet. It's our SDKs to make it easier to build applications on top of that very, very granular data. And that's new innovations like data prep to make it easier to find problems and clean that granular data to make it ready for analysis. So that's what combines and what we're trying to do to make it easier for you.
Great. So Steve touched on this, and I think it's readily apparent that openness is a key theme in the big data market and the analytics market these days. And we constantly hear from customers that they're looking for more choices with respect to kind of complementary services to 1010 Data, whether it be implementation or integration, et cetera. Sloan, can you tell us a little bit more about how you're working to build this partner community?
Absolutely. And As you saw, Gregory said Sloan, because we don't want any confusion. The two Gregs up on stage. So I've already adopted Sloan as here. And like Tony, I'm living the dream.
It was part of his offer letter.
It was, actually. We have a terrific product. We have a fantastic client community, and we have an unbelievable opportunity in front of us. Over my experience, I've learned that best partnerships are formed when two parties with very selfish interests come together. They admit those selfish interests, but they provide a better capability for our customers in the market. And that's what we're doing here. So I'm focused on building a better alliance network. And those are, think about services companies, system integrators, et cetera, that have deep market expertise, deep technical expertise, and better global reach. So we're focused on that and make them true extensions of the 1010 family. Having the same kind of capabilities Loic is building for our own customer success team from a partner enablement. Those partners that we bring on board will be trained, they'll be skilled, they'll be certified. And we're building the programs and the capabilities around that. John and I are working really closely on our technology partners to try to give you a better experience when you leverage our platform. So think about the ETL or the data load experience, and that's where Steve already mentioned we're working with talent. Think about the visual interface and the interactive dashboards, and I'll be at the Tableau conference next week. Think about different personas of how we extend our capability past the analyst into the data science community and other people, and we're working with companies there. So the technology partnerships are also another key focus. And then data insights. So we're privileged to have a couple here today. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But having not just your data, but other third-party and other syndicated data on our platform, making it easier to use, that is a key part of our capability and is a huge differentiator for us. So it's again, those are the main focus areas. You're going to be seeing a lot more, and our partners are going to be seeing a lot more over the next couple months of how we build and grow that.
Exciting. Tony, when I interviewed you, one of the things I was really excited about was the broad and vast experience you've had across many vertical areas and solving lots of different business problems. Can you talk about how you're going to leverage that experience to kind of help our user base?
I absolutely can. It's funny, when you started that question, you said when I interviewed with you, you asked me a question. I thought he was going to say, but he did ask this question, what do you do in your spare time? I said, well, I'm a guitar player, lead guitar player in a band. And then we just got into music for a little bit, and it was really enjoyable. So how often does that happen in an interview, right? But anyway, the fact of the matter is I have transformed businesses 5 times in my career. This is go round number 6, so I've been around the block a few times. And I have learned that what really matters is the people. It comes down to talented, passionate, smart people. And 1010 has that, right? Key ingredient. And my mission is to grow the business. And to do that, we have to bring in more people. We're growing. You saw we're at 260 some people now. That's 50% growth from last year. And to grow the business, we have to diversify our business into other industries. We have to go global. So it's going to be a big undertaking, but we're going to get there. We have all the key ingredients to be successful. So the key industries that I'm looking at right now are healthcare, with all the patient data, and this real-world evidence concept that they're tracking even more data now for pharmaceutical. Then on top of that, there's manufacturing and distribution with all the sensor data and the Internet of Things that's just taking off out in the marketplace right now. And then the B2C businesses like travel, hospitality, gaming. And you look at the things that they're doing in these industries like personalization, customer segmentation, customer behavior analytics, total guess worth that Steve mentioned for the casino, right? These use cases can be applied across many industries. So it's pretty interesting. So to do that, we have to bring in some subject matter experts, some domain experts in these areas. And we'll do that pretty quickly here. And then we'll build a support team around that. We'll uncover new use cases that you can leverage as well. We'll start adding new features from our new customers into our platform that you'll be able to benefit from. And then, of course, John's going to embed, machine learning and artificial intelligence, and the future is here, right? So you're all going to benefit. And on top of that, just think about it. This is the Discovery Summit. How many customers do we have here today? I think the number I heard is over 225. Next year, it might be 325 or 425. I don't know. We'll see. But as the years go on, this party is going to get bigger and bigger. You're going to have more people to share knowledge with and experiences with. We'll all be living the dream together.
And you know he's dying to play the guitar for y'all.
My band is available. You have to book us 6 months in advance.
You'll give us a deal, though, right?
Of course, no doubt.
All right, so Loic, you teased us a minute ago with some of the changes you made to the team. Can you talk a little bit more about the customer experience initiatives that are kind of underway in the team?
Yes.
Thanks.
I don't know if you know that about Tony, but he's living the dream.
Yeah.
So excuse me, we're getting T-shirts made up, right?
I know. We've already talked about that. We already know what it's going to look like and everything. Anyway, so the different initiatives. So we have a lot of very exciting things, not only things that we've already done, things that are about to be rolled out, things that are rolled out yesterday that I'm going to share with you, and then things that will roll out in the next few months. So customer solutions really have one mission, and it's very simple. We want our customers and we want our partners to be successful. And we want them to be so successful that they become raving fans and they live the dream with us. So our strategy is very simple. It's threefold. The first one is to improve the current services that we provide. The second one is to innovate and provide new type of services that you need to be able to be successful. And the third one is we want to leverage services not only, as Steve shared earlier, in the product and all the different things that you could use, but we want to do that also in every aspect of the services that we provide so that it's easier for you to be self-serving. So I'm going to give you a few concrete examples of those. The first thing that we released last year is our new support website. And you can go within the product, or we can go online like on our website, and then you can go to the support section of it, and then you can log your cases, and you can add comments and follow your cases that way. Of course, you can also do email support, but being able to do it online is a little bit easier to track and to be able to see what the status of your case is. So the second thing that we're about to release before the end of the year is 24/7 support. So for every single case that is urgent, we will have 24/7, and that way you will be able to resolve your issues any time of the day, weekends, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you name it, even July 14th, which is the equivalent of July 4th in France.
Steel Day.
Other examples are something we released, I'm very proud of that, something we released yesterday, and I checked it works, and we have a few customers who already used it, is chat support. So you go in a product or on a website, because everything needs to be integrated, and there's a little pop-up that comes on the right corner of your screen and say, hey, would you like to chat? And then you click this, and here you are chatting with a support person who is knowledgeable in the product. And so in addition to web support, in addition to email support, then now you can do chat support, which is really cool, very interactive, live. Another example of innovations that we're going to do in the next few months, by the end of the year, I repeat, by the end of the year, we will release a knowledge base. Today we have documentation in the product with a lot of things that are already available, but we want to beef it up. That's one of those examples around self-service, but it's also great innovation. Knowledge base will be non-gated. You'll be able to go to Google to search it. You'll be able to go on our website and search it. You'll be able to go to the product and search it. And it will be all available at your fingerprints. Another one that we're going to release also by the end of the year are forums, so that you can dialogue within each other and you can dialogue with us. And we'll, of course, like any forums that you see for any vendor, we'll have different themes. For example, we could open a beta for for a product, and then the people who are participating in the beta can actually dialogue, and we can create a community of the beta participants. So that is going to be released by the end of the year. We actually already have forum live for some beta cycles that we started. And then the last one that I wanted to mention, that I mentioned a little bit earlier, is online training. We need to be able to provide to our partners and our customers online training. You know, having one trainer is great, 2 trainers, 3 trainers, but it's all in the classroom. It's not always, you know, answering to the needs of every customer. So we need to be more diversified, and online is definitely a great way to do that. You'll have also certifications for customers who want to be certified, for partners who want to be certified. So those are the few examples. It's not an exhaustive list, believe it or not. And we have a lot more coming. We're very excited about all of those initiatives. And I hope you are as excited as I am, because that's definitely going to make you more successful. And if on all of those 3 themes, improving our current services, innovating and creating new services, and how we can leverage self-service better for your success, if you have any ideas, then please come and talk to me, because I always love new ideas.
Thank you. All right, so I think at this point we need to call an audible, change the theme of the Insight Summit, from the Discovery Summit, from insight and action and impact to living the dream. So is everyone okay with that? Or?
I think that's a theme for that.
Okay. So Sloan, you mentioned there's a number of partners here. Can you talk a little bit about those partners and what the best way for our customers and participants to interact with them is?
Yeah, so one, thanks, and I want to thank the 4 partners that are here today. We have Nielsen in the room. So we're privileged to be a Nielsen connected partner. So we're one of the very few analytic companies who can host Nielsen data on our platform. So Matt, Elizabeth, Anne-Marie, are you in the room? Please stand up. Again, their booth is right outside. I'd encourage you during the breaks, learn a little bit more about that capability. It's new, but we're already having some great success with it. Just this week, we also have a new data insights partner, PlaceIQ. So PlaceIQ leverages the billions amount of data from location-based services. So they have a capability called Landmark. We're integrating with our platform as well. So Jeff, Gianna, and Ken, if you're in the room, I don't see you, but hopefully there you are. Okay. Again, they have a booth right outside. Please learn a little bit more about that. That's the best way for us to really start leveraging this community, is to be able to expand a little bit more. From alliance partners, we're privileged to have 2 alliance partners here. Cognera, it's an Atlanta-based firm that's heavy into retail and some other verticals. So Baha and Linda are here. Thank you very much. And so I'd encourage you to learn a little bit about more of their offerings. We do have many joint engagements with Cognera right now, and they're growing with us. So we're very, very encouraged with that. And then we also have TechWave in the room. TechWave is a good-sized system integrator based out of the Pennsylvania area. 800 some odd people. They are investing heavily in both sales and technical training with 1010. They're going to be a very strong partner of ours going forward. So we have Mike and Raj and Herbert and Mark somewhere in the room. There you go, back in the back. Okay, so the best way to interact is interact. They're here, they're participating, they're part of all the breakouts, but during the breaks, please take a moment, stop by, learn a little bit more. And again, it's going to enhance your experience and the capabilities you have with the 1010 data platform.
Great, thank you. John, can you talk a little bit more about how we innovate at 1010 Data? How do we keep up with all of the requests and needs of our customers in the market?
Sure. So we like to think about this as essentially 2 types of innovation that we try to do. There's tactical innovation that's specifically designed to meet a customer need or help a particular user. And there's more strategic innovation, bigger projects that are designed to kind of fill a new use case that our clients have. And we actually have spent a lot of time in the past year making sure that we are organized around being able to deliver both of those. So I'll start tactical first. We have inbound requests from our great users here all the time into our customer success teams via email. We'll start having them via chat, hopefully, where you're making on our forums where you're telling us this is a particular thing that I can use to make the work that I'm doing with 1010 data better. And we review those requests actually every single week and prioritize around when we're getting requests from a lot of different users and build them into the system. So some specific examples of innovations that we've done as a response to that are the ability to drag and drop to calculate multiple metrics in a crosstab. That's a very specific sounding thing, unless you're a user who's asked for that for a couple of years, you're hopefully very happy. It includes things like making it feel very Excel-ish when you're creating a new column. So you'll get documentation that will come up right when you're trying to add new metrics. It includes things like making our upload capabilities more robust and dealing with different types of errors that might come up in source data and making it easier to work around those. So there are 3 specific examples that people here have asked about before that we've prioritized based on kind of inbound requests that we prioritize every week. At the same time, we're thinking about strategic innovations that can bring new use cases to our clients as well. And the way we think about that is a number of components. So first, certainly client feedback leads us to ideas, but we're also paying attention to the market, what other people in this space are doing, talking to analysts, and trying to understand what new use cases might matter to our customers, ones that you might not have asked yet because you don't think 1010 could do it. And so this includes a lot of our investment on the openness and analytical integration of other technologies, and also the movements to the public clouds, where there's obviously some interest already, but maybe you don't even know that that's something 1010 can do. And so we're trying to identify those opportunities as well. And we hope and believe they'll have a really big impact, like the ability to elastically scale up and down your resources on Monday morning if you have a lot of users. So to have an impact and kind of make your voice heard for big strategic innovations like that, what we would love to be doing is having a specific time with our customers to go over our existing roadmap and then have a discussion about what they're looking for and how we can improve this. What we've noticed is that doing kind of broad roadmap topics is challenging because while granular data unifies all of you, there's a lot of different use cases and a lot of different users in this community. And so what we are hoping to do a lot in the next year is schedule time directly with customers. We'll go over the roadmap in a tailored way for your needs, and we'd love to get feedback from you on where we're going and making sure it's going to support use cases that you have for 1010 data in the future. So that's something you're interested in, please reach out to your account manager, your customer success team, and we can get something scheduled, because we'd love to hear that inbound tactical feedback, how we can help make your job better today, and also that strategic feedback of what you're trying to do in a year and how we can be a partner to get you there.
That's great. I don't think John can stress it enough. We love your participation and guidance here. So, Steve, Tony mentioned that his cherry on top was data sharing when he decided to come work at 1010 Data and join us. We haven't talked that much about it, though. Can you talk a little bit about what we do there and what you think the future of data sharing is?
Sure. So just for those of you who are saying, what is data sharing? Because half of you probably are not really familiar that we do this. So our technology, the way it was developed, we have the ability to enable sharing of data and of queries and of analyses and of the results of analyses seamlessly with not only your peers within your company, but also outside of your company. And that can be done in a robust way with very robust governance and high scalability, so that you have a lot of control over what you're exactly specifically you're sharing, what they are allowed to see and what they are not allowed to see. And we could do that at enterprise scale, and it's built into the fabric of the software. It was designed to do that from the ground up. So we can support enterprise scale sharing of data and analytics, and we do that in a number of ways today. But it's taken and often it's very common in some industries and in some use cases, much more so than others. We help the New York Stock Exchange share their trade and quote data. So think of every time someone makes a bid or an ask, for a stock, for shares in a stock, we enable them to share that, right, with customers who want to access that data or subsets of that data, do their analysis with it on our platform. We also do it for retailers. I talked about that a little earlier, enabling them to share their T-log data and other complementary data sets with their supplier base. But I think personally that I think the data sharing is one of the most untapped, potentials across industries, across markets. There are just many, many ways. I mean, we were with an auto manufacturer a week ago. I was talking about their telematics data. They do no sharing of that data. They do not monetize that data. They are now thinking about how to do that, right? If you think about the telecom companies and watching video and who's watching it, what's happening, they don't do a lot of sharing of that data, especially at the granular level, in a way that allows other partners of theirs, whether they're suppliers or customers of theirs, to be able to actually do analysis on the data. And oftentimes, to really get the value out of it, you need to be able to combine that data that's being shared with other data that you have in order to run a correlation or really get a full insight into what's happening. So I think that's a huge opportunity for us to have impact with clients, not only many of you in this room who really maybe haven't thought of us in that way, but also for other clients outside in other verticals.
That's great. All right, well, thanks everyone on the panel. This has been great. I just want to provide the room with some logistical information for the rest of the day. Can you just pop over to the next slide, please?
I can.
Thank you.
One
that.
too many.
Too many.
There we go.
So we have a really exciting day planned for you. Great presentations from customers, great presentations from Tencent Data employees. We have a keynote Q&A that Steve's going to moderate with the Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman. I'm personally very excited for this. I've read his book, Thinking Fast and Slow, 3 times. If you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's super insightful.
You have 2 hours.
You have 2 hours, read the book, listen to it on Audible at 4x speed. We've got Bill Franks, who's Chief Analytical Officer for the Analytics Institute that we're in the middle of forging a pretty strong partnership with, doing a keynote talk at the end of the day. We've got networking breaks. We've got a demo hall with demo stations set up with Tencent Data employees and demo stations set up for our partners. So make sure you stop by those tables and get a peek at what everyone's working on. The breakout sessions are going to be on the conference level. And if you need anything at all, come see any Tencent Data employee. We're here to help. We want to make your day as productive as possible. So thank you very much.
Thanks.